Alright, audio sync. So here we go. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. I kind of had two words to come out at once then, and we ended up with some weirdness. Good start to the night. Running a little late tonight. Other things have been happening, but I thought I'd try and get this 1707 in. Actually, no, this is a 1990, come to think of it. It's alright. Shoot. I can't edit the title now anyway. It's a 1990, not a 1707. I get them confused from the outside unless I look at the actual text. Hey, Aerosim. Yeah, business is good. Business keeping me busy. Oh, 2000 plan. Travis, Steve, welcome back. Pabo, been a while since I've seen you. Arton, James Ewings here. Alright, so this definitely had liquid damage on it. You can see it actually looks like fungus growing there. If I put some heat on here, I'll probably be able to work out what it was that they've damaged it with. Got a lot of dust build up in the fans. It's actually surprising given that it's only a 1990 model. Pretty sure it is. Let me check. Yeah, A1990. My bad. Anyway, crap, we've got liquid damage by the screen connector, so I think the first thing we're going to have to do is actually lift up that screen connector, have a look before I put any power onto this. Hey, Sutter. Let's see. Want T4 for this or T3? No, 1 PR is no use. T4. Generally prefer to hit this with a T3. T1's way too small. T2 is also a wee bit fiddly. We'll see what T4 will do for us. Okay, T4 will work. Probably should disconnect the battery too. Gecko's laughing at me. Hey, Barry West. Hey, Nick. Hey, what I did... What am I after? I'm after a T5, which is my red shaft. There we go. Let's see, we've got... Oh, I just realised now, I don't think I have opened a 1990 before, so this is the first. Oh. Is that stuck or is it... Oh, it's because there's still a screw in it. That would stop it me lifting off. Hey, 10 minute. Hopefully nothing has happened on this display connector because we really don't want that 50 volts jumping over to the CPU data lines. But when you see liquid around that area, you do have that fear. And on first glance, it seems okay. Whew, thank goodness for that. Alright, we're going to plug this into the USB power meter and see what we're getting at least. We do get power, 5 volts, 50 milliamps, and boot loop. Five volts, 50. Stays constant. Just going to see if it changes the protocol before it blacks out. Maybe it was me that made it black out. It just really... It's very sensitive there, so I'd say probably got a bit of liquid damage. Well, we obviously don't have 20 volts, so yeah. Hey Ed, how's it going? And RDP. There you go, see, look, I ran another stream for you, RDP. This one you're actually here on time for. Congratulations. And now we commence the process of waiting 15 minutes just to disassemble and get the board out. So far the design looks pretty much the same as your usual 1707s and such. Ah, solder, you're a sick one, eh? That's not good. Well, everybody should keep at least 1.5 line spaces away from solder bridge when you type. So just change your line spacing to 1.5 line spaces, and that should be an effective, safe distance from solder bridge. Ah, Kiston's here too. Hello, Kiston. There sure is a lot of labor time involved in removing and reinstalling these particular machines. 1708 and the 1932s, things like that, they're all quick to work on. But these type ones, ugh, such a superb waste of time. Got the same desktop digital multimeter as you. Going to try software. What serial cable did you use? I didn't use any specific. It was just a straight, ordinary, straight through, full 9-pin direct. The only thing is you want a. I think you want a male to male or something. The gender on the back of the multimeter is actually the opposite of what I would have expected. I don't know why they did that, but it's not what you'd consider the norm. I do have mine going straight into a proper US serial port on the machine. I haven't tried it with a USB dongle. Okay, we need T4s for these ones. And Mr. Taylor. Crikey, it takes forever. Just the time it takes adds like $60 to the job. Yeah, yummy steak. It better not be an ISL 1940. I've had a few of the 9240s before, based boards, but this is the first 1990 machine. Barry West, for sushi to test Roslin's board fix theory. Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, that sushi will take considerably longer to arrive to the point where it would be rather detrimental to my health if I consumed it. But let's just presume the $15 is sushi. And we'll see how it works. It's under there. Let's see, we've still got the T8s to get out for the bottom of the heat sinks. Honestly, it's worse than trying to pull apart an Audi. You need every damn tool in the tool set. I swear, some of those car designers, they're like, "Sir, we didn't use every tool in the tool set." And they're like, "Right, let's make something on this car need that tool we didn't use, even if it's got nothing to do with the car. And make sure it's going to be midway through the process when the person can't just quickly put the car back together and drive down to the shop and get that tool. Oh, keyboard's going to be trash on this. Oh, liquid over here. Nasty. That's not going to be good. At least if I can get it working, I can defer the replacement of the deck to someone else. I prefer not to deal with those if I can avoid it. Well, Alita does make good sushi, but she is busy fighting off some best fiends right now. I can already see I've got damage up here, so it's probably going to be our fault. Just get the worst of the dust off. Yeah, it certainly has. There's corrosion right here. These have got CD3217s on them. We're boned. Oh no, it's still the 15. Okay, well, nonetheless, that is a very boned board. Yeah. What a mess. That's not great either. It's not the worst, but it's not great. So it would appear we essentially just, for now, need to be in janitorial mode. Clean that up. Looks like we're probably going to have some part replacements. Just checking over the rest of the board, see if anything else got struck down. But it's looking good, so it's primarily... What a mess. Yeah, Nick, it feels that way a lot. I understand your reservation. I certainly have it a fair bit myself, but I am routinely given these newer machines, so I do have to fix them. I think our first steps will be, we'll wash it down with a little bit of alcohol and water, and then we'll flux and boil. What? Shield the CPU? What CPU? The CPU's way, way off in the distance. There's no CPU around here. Oh, I see now. Nell's here. Hello, Nell. I missed the arrival, hence my misunderstanding of talking about shielding the CPU. Wayne, I might have to let my hair down and bring out the inner Jesus. Ken, are you talking about refurb boards? Because the bigger problem I've found with refurb boards is a lot of them are done quite badly and frequently end up needing repairs themselves. So you've kind of found it preferable to... Man, what is this part? It is not a happy looking board. Alright, I need a board number on this. And then at least I can bring up the board unit schematic and start looking at trying to pick up some replacement parts. Unfortunately, I don't really have much in the way of the chicken arms for these boards, because every time I get a chance to get one of these boards, the customers want them back for whatever daft reason. And so the machine is dead. It's going to sit in your drawer. Oh, here we go. 1814. It's going to sit around and collect dust, do nothing, and you're depriving the chance of other... And I mean, I'm offering money for it, but people don't want to. I guess I need to work on my salesman pitch. Convince them that it's the right thing to do. 1814. Oh, I've got this on my other machine. Nice. Picked the wrong IP address and I ended up logging into my own machine. Alright, somebody's changed the IP address of my workstation. Can't imagine who that would be. Gee, how did that happen? Okay, I finally got the 1814 that I need. That was a lot of drama. But at least we now have the 1814. Holy crap, the PDF is awful on the 1814. What happened to it? They image it only? Can anyone confirm if the 1814 PDF is actually is it? No, it is text. It's just rendering really badly. Not sure what's going on there. Hey, roll. Okay, I want to find out what that part is there. And I sneeze. Come on, come back, sneeze. Where'd you go? Ah, I lost my sneeze. That is really annoying. Mr. Hedgehog? Yeah, U2890. What the heck are you? W25Q80. That looks like some sort of EEPROM. Is that the ROM for the USB? Ugh, it is. Look at a bright light when up with what? When you want to sneeze. Oh, funnily enough, I am one of those people that used to suffer from if you go outside into the sun and it caused you to sneeze. I used to suffer that. I don't anymore. But in the past, I certainly did. $3K3. Curious value for that. Alright, let's start getting into it and see if we can clean it up. Oh, who's got an unlimited supply of out-of-lease MacBooks? Dear God, I would love to get my hands on that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, I either don't know the right people, or the right people are avoiding me, and I certainly don't run into such glorious gold mines. But it would be nice. Wow, it's not even attached. Now we can't get rid of this. We have to hopefully... Whoa, I do not like it when you hear that kind of noise. That's usually water got... or something built up somewhere and it popped out. That... We do have to lift it up, but hopefully we can, restore it. 22 minutes late. Based in Melbourne, so a lot of refurb companies local to us. Oh man, Ken, you're making me very jealous, my dear chap. It is a constant struggle to get a good supply of equipment parts here. So you're well positioned, but then again, I mean, I suppose I do have the upside of living in a COVID-free zone and stuff like that. The question is, will I swap? I've now got no problem in chasing down those auctions and whatever, but as soon as you mention that you're up north and whatnot, nobody wants to deal with you because they know that it's going to be an absolute pain on the courier collection side of things, and I haven't yet really got a dependable person that I can burden to go collect that sort of thing. RDP, stop trying to nick my stuff, eh? Get out of it. My stream, my gold mine. So this is when the whole friendly right to repair type stuff goes way out of the window. As soon as you get a gold mine of MacBooks or something, everybody's like, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Kind of like a bunch of seagulls over the last chip. Oh, Bianco, hello, been a while, how are you? And I see you dropped 10 into my pocket, thank you very much. Out of town, glad to catch a stream, thanks for the entertainment. Thank you very much indeed for you. I find it a little bit tragic that you don't realise people are missing until afterwards. Yeah, it's not until they come back and you go, holy dooly, I forgot that you existed. I mean, obviously that wouldn't work with my wife or my cats, but for people on the internet, it happens a little too often. Okay, these are just test pads up here, so it's no problem that they've been vanquished. As long as all of this is okay. Or at least, yeah, there's no veer going through any of those. Ah, zoom. Alright, well, I'll switch over to microscope. There you go. Mr. Rossman's here. Hello, Lewis. How are you, good sir? I don't have any sushi, Lewis, but I have had money for sushi, so we're hoping that it will fix this board for us. Mind you, it is a 1990 820 01814. So wish me luck. Especially considering I don't have a donor for this one. Anyway, shouldn't you be at work? I'll do. It'll look prettier once I put everything back. Alright. And we just need to clean this up, make sure it's okay. I'm sorry, but pineapple is a perfectly acceptable condiment on pizza, thank you very much. Nothing wrong with pineapple. It adds a lovely little bit of freshness to a pizza. God damn, this flux is just vanquishing by the heat of the tip. It's too much. That's okay. I would introduce Lewis Rossman, except for the fact that everybody pretty much knows who Lewis Rossman is. And okay, that is not a mark I like to see. That better not be what I think it is. Please don't be that. Alright, that's not good, I don't think. There is a tiny copper dot on the left side here. And it kind of feels... Please let me be able to move it. Yeah, that is a tiny hole in the substrate, that there. Now I can only hope that it will live. I can feel it as I go over it. That's a little tiny hole. I don't know why there's a hole there. We'll put it back on, but I have a feeling that's pretty much doomed that part. Now I don't know if you can... I don't know if you have to use the same one for each board. Like, is it a part that can just be replaced? I don't know. We'll put it back on, but I'm lacking the confidence now. Hey, yes, how's it going? So we just got to get a replacement resistor and a replacement cap. So what's our cap? 1 microfarad, 63402. Oh, usually got them by the dozen. Just notice this face cam's a little bit sluggish. 1 microfarad, 63402. I could pull a donor, but since I already have them and I know it's a fairly common value, it's easy enough for me to just yank one out of the box. And what was that resistor? Well, your mistake. The real problem that I have is that if it's got a hole in it when it shouldn't have a hole in it, then why has it got a hole in it? Which is kind of weird given that, you know, we've only got 3 volts here, so to punch a hole through it is a little strange. Okay, 3K3 is not a value I normally carry, and I now sincerely do not trust one bit those component books. The component books have screwed me over a couple of times. They've resulted in some 3V42 sections becoming a little more than 342, which has resulted in me losing a board. So I no longer use those. 4K7. I don't think I've got 3K3 in here, so I will have to get a donor from another board. But since I don't have this board, I will simply search in Flexboard view. I've got 2K2. That's not much use though. 3K3 is not a value you normally see around too much. It is a standard value, but it's not a one you commonly see. Okay. Search, find a part. So you want 3.3K, 201. We'll say one. We only put in the 3rd parameter just to try and tighten up the circle. Oh, it looks like the 165's got it anyway. Let's see. You're kidding me? It's pretty much the same configuration thing here anyway. 2890. Alright. Alright. I know exactly where that is. Right there. I bet you that cap's the same type too. One microfarad. We could have basically stolen these parts, but I wasn't aware of this existing on the 1466 boards. I'd say this part is different though, definitely. It's still the same type of thing, as in it's still a EEPROM type chip. But good to know the 165s have that. This is why, even with the new MacBooks, there's still going to be a fairly decent amount of repairability, because there are some things that, for as much as Apple wants to use their own processor and GPU, all that sort of stuff, they still are going to use third parties for all of this sort of glue logic and other bits and pieces that help make the computer be a computer. It isn't really in their financial interest to start producing all of these separate little items on their own, for their own, under their own brand name. Chris. How's it going, Chris? Alright, so that's that. Definitely our 3215 is going. Interesting. It's a C00Z. Okay, that's going to be a problem. Is Lewis around? Can we use the existing C00s that I have with this particular one? Or is the 00Z a whole new ball game? And more importantly, does Paul even know where his MacBook parts are? Yes, he does. Well, I've got one C00 left. That's it. And then we're out. And I'll have to order more. Oh, Sudi, how's it going? There's another person that I sort of forget hangs around until they reappear after a while. Has anyone actually tried replacing these C00s with the there's another chip that looks basically pin compatible with these CD3215s. I forget the number or name of it, but it looks like it has the same pin out. I mean, I'm guessing that they have different signaling protocol inside or something like that. But I'd be curious to see if anyone's actually tried replacing the C00s up 3215s with one of those chips. I would not be surprised for one moment if it doesn't work, purely on the basis that Apple's probably made Text Instrument change the bit mapping. Yeah, just simply to mess around with things. That's a lot of corrosion there. Hey, Rustlin. Thank you for your daily streams. Far better than Diablo stream. Once you buy the house, you can retire and play Diablo 2 24/7 on Twitch. I would actually probably go insane doing that. I do wonder how professional gamers get on psychologically. If they're particularly specialists in one game, such as say Dota 2. Wake up in the morning, go have your 2-hour practice session with your friends playing Dota 2 and getting used to the opponent's, the whole attack versus counter type behavior based on everything. I mean, obviously people do it, but it's just that it'll be a bit of a different kind of life. I dare say we might be best to remove all of these. Certainly that middle one. But I'm going to have to double check on the values. These look a little bit beaten up too. That pad there is extremely... It's almost like it's just going to disappear on me. It may be a sensible move for me to scratch that back and actually put in a wire there, because it really does feel like it's just copper dust there. I don't think it's going to last. He says that as he scratches away at it just to prove a point. It's kind of like when you get a scab or a sore and you go, I think this hurts, so you keep scratching at it. Yep, it definitely hurts. It's like an idiot. So a lot of gold dust, the copper dust rather. I gotta say, I am pretty happy with this HDMI capture tool, especially for the price. Looks like Lewis has already left the building. How very typical. When I needed his advice, he's never there for me. Just uses me and leaves. Gonna need a new blade. Travis, that's just gonna make him run away and hate me more. Don't do that. You meaning when he does an everybody type post on Discord? I'm gonna scratch this back a fair way because I don't want it moving once I put it down. I guess we will just get some audio IC or touch IC wire and do that. Actually, I wonder if my what do you call it? Lens wire might actually be a better job of this. Litz wire rather, Litz, not lens. Diablo 2 in 4K, 60 frames per second, that'd be a very weird combination. And I need to change my tip because I'm too damn cheap and nasty at the moment to get myself another Hacko station. So I'm just running around with the one FX8, what is it, 951? I really should get another one, or a 203. And that way I won't have to keep yanking it out. This may actually compel me to reball the chip with leaded solder. First thing I need to do is actually get that enamel off. Okay. It's usually pretty easy on this wire, and it has been, thankfully. Sorry, it's out of focus. I know, it's out of focus for me too. Okay, you're not unique and you're suffering. We're all suffering. Arnold, nothing special about the DC jack. It was actually a repeat in the end. A repeat in the sense of it was the same customer that I did the jack for, I think, about 6 months ago. I told them they need to be a little more careful with it. But they're pretty avid gamers, so I can sort of appreciate that it gets a beating. Diablo 2 Remastered release date end of 2020. Seriously, they're actually going to remaster it? So we're going to get extra levels, or are we just going to get higher resolution? I mean, I'm fine with higher resolution, but I'm just kind of curious if there was any other bonuses. It's the curse of when you do this sort of stuff, like you do a remaster or something, is that as soon as you give people a new feature, the first thing they do is go, oh, have you also got this? You know, no one's ever happy with just the one feature release, the one extra feature. But I'll be very excited to see Diablo 2 Remastered. Well, nothing went wrong. Nothing at all. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to reball the CD3215, make it leaded solder. Because otherwise I'm worried that it's just going to take too long to drop down, and that's going to result in this moving around a little bit. And I may as well, I've already done a mistake, I should have fixed up these before I did that wire. Oh, look at that, it wasn't even soldered on. Out of focus indeed. Yeah, that is genuinely fixed down now. Naturally, you can't see it. Right, next step, try to suck up some of that flux and then put a couple of dots of the green goo around the place. It's just a little tricky. If you put the green goo down on top of the flux, then it pretty much doesn't work. Certainly not very well. Oh, for God's sake, Paul. Stop beating up that poor innocent wire. Oh, Barry, don't get him started. I was actually going to have a bit of a rant this stream. Getting sick of all the people who... they'll watch a video and then they'll come in as if they know everything in the world, and maybe they do, but the mistake they make is they assume you know nothing in the world because you didn't explicitly say that you knew something. And if you don't know, then that's fine too, as in if you don't know if you're making a suggestion, but it gets a little bit frustrating when you have people trying to tell you about stuff that you've been doing for the last 20, 30, 35 years, and you're kind of like, well, thank you for basically doing your best to sound smart while not bothering to check to see if I knew. Anyway, that is unfortunately just the nature of forums, YouTube, everything, you know. It's just the way it is. And every now and then it just sort of gets under your nose a little bit, and you just want to take these people and reach through the internet and deliver a little bit of something to them. And unfortunately sarcasm doesn't travel well over the internet, so you can't sit there and go, oh really? I would have never have known that if you hadn't have told me. Wow. I mean, you can try, but usually it just goes straight over their heads. Yeah, Ken Skeets, you can try that, but then they're usually like, they'll always have a retort. And I understand what they're doing. They're more using the opportunity to try and glorify their own brilliance. And I get that. I did it plenty of times with Lewis. Stole the opportunity where I could to, let's say, look at me. And I was fortunate that because my avatar picture was of Micro, Lewis was suitably blinded by the situation, and eventually I managed to actually capture his attention long enough that I could tell him about the updated software. So we all do it, I think. But there are certainly better ways of doing it. Keith McDermott, can't find any information about Diablo 2. Boo, you raised my hopes up and then let me down. Okay, is that queued up? I actually can't tell. Usually when this stuff is cured, it's got a much darker green hue to it, but that actually looks almost like it's still wet. It is. Weird. Stick it under the UV for a bit longer. Which MacBook should I buy? It really depends on what you want to do with it. I'm still perfectly happy with my 1502s and 1466s. I need to decide what to do about my 1398. I don't know whether I should just sell it, piece it out. I don't know. You know. I certainly don't use them, but at the same time I do want them around for the fact that they're good reference boards. Okay, that looks pretty good now. Whoops, squeaky. Just need to tin that pad. When I'm working on these sort of scales, like tiny little dashes of flux and things like that, I tend to remind myself of Jason Vollmer. Jason Vollmer's flux applying techniques is pretty much the antithesis of what Lewis is. Jason Vollmer will take a toothpick and just dab the toothpick into the flux and then just touch it on the right place, and that's enough. And even then he's complaining. He's like, oh, there's a bit too much flux. Whereas Lewis is like, well, that's 2 tubes down, but I think we could probably add another one. 1465 from work, had coke spilled on it, only need a new battery. That is lucky. Normally with those you typically, keyboard or something goes wrong. Okay, so we've got the board prepped, except for those little pieces, but I'm going to do the reballing of the chip right now. So we're going to take what might be a perfectly reasonable chip and we're going to tear its balls off, and then we're going to put new fresh leaded ones on there. Yep, genuine new. Truth in marketing. What's the red mark on my hand? What red mark? Oh, maybe you mean my arm. If you're referring to my arm, that is where I caught my kitty cat jumping out of a tree. Hey, Stray. Kitty cats love climbing in trees, but sometimes they get a little ahead of themselves and climb up a little too far. And then they go meow and want to come down and they can't. And so they do try sometimes to come down, but then they typically fall out of the tree and you got to be there to catch them. Well, I'll certainly be interested if Diablo comes out with a remastering of Diablo 2, rather. I'll learn that when holding the tweezers, you go in the orthogonal direction of whatever you're holding. Okay, that's good. Let's get my stencils. I was messing around with them earlier today. I am going to be very happy when I have my workshop properly set up, so I don't have to do this rather annoying waste of time looking for things that I really shouldn't have to be looking for. They should be just on the wall somewhere and I can just go, got it. It's frustrating for me and it's frustrating for you. Oh. Something's going on. Ooh, okay. That's kind of scary. It could have gone really horribly wrong. Everything okay, or do you need me to come down? Question mark? It seems like one of the stray cats decided to jump in amongst the kittens and a few other things, because we are looking after half a dozen kittens at the moment. Ah, there's my stencils. Alright. Okay, good to hear. Message me if anything comes up. Where did I learn to repair boards? No real one place in particular, more a case of just simply, always had an affinity for electronics, and it just sort of grew out of that. Originally, though, I mostly used to design boards rather than repair boards. Repairing is only perhaps something I've bothered to do in the last 5 or 6 years. Prior to that, it was always design, 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 and let some other poor bastard repair what I designed. For all you know, I'm probably the designer of the early MacBook boards. No, I'm not. Really, I'm not. No, please don't send trash my way because of that. The upside is that by designing boards, and then going and repairing boards, you get an idea of what certain designers have been up to when you see the way things are done on the board, and you can I know where this is going, and it gives you a slightly better chance of repairing stuff. But then again, at the same time, you can look at some things and you can go, what the hell were you thinking? And most of the time, the engineer was doing what he wanted until marketing came along and told him not to do that. Okay, that's a little sexist because I'm saying him. But obviously, board design is not exclusive to males. In fact, in many ways, perhaps it'd be better if it was a little more spread out. Because like with programming, sometimes you can get some people who get a little bit carried away with their own brilliance, or perceived brilliance, and then they get hired by Apple. Okay, damn it, why do I always pull out my tweezers after when I have to commit? Damn it, hopefully it doesn't drift anywhere. Tokyo Drift. Okay. But yeah, often marketing will make you have to... Fortunately for me, I never endured that because I was my own project. Yeah, I did everything start to finish. But yeah, marketing can turn what would have been a good design into complete crapfest. You can see the times in Apple's board history where the engineers were in control, and then you can see when management decided, hang on, we're losing money here, you're making it too easy. Nice thing about doing it on this stencil is you get a bunch of free balls at the end. And you can use them for projects later. Hey Scott Ashcroft, yeah, that's the chip I was talking about. At least I think it was. It's very similar to this, but like I said, I'm thinking they probably just changed a few registers around. If we're lucky and it is just a register shift, then yeah, maybe still possible to use them somehow. Add a translation chip on the top of it. Anyway. The other thing I'll be very happy for when I get into the new workshop and stuff is I'll rip the carpet out of this room. This room has carpet, which of course it's 25, 30 years old, and there's a lot of stuff that drifts down from the ceiling, there's a lot of stuff that gets stirred up, and as you can see under the microscope, it just keeps landing everywhere. So it doesn't matter how much I wash my workbench down or anything like that, it just keeps building up. So it'll be very nice to have a workshop where I can have a nice non-fibrous vinyl floor or something like that. Just keep the amount of trash floating in the air out. And I do have the air filter that you can hear in front of me, and I also do have a very nice room filter that I'm using elsewhere. But there's not much point putting them in here, like the room filters, because the carpet will win every time. Oh, g'day, sweetie. Nice to see you there. Arnold, I was already heading there. Why? Why do you people do this to me? You gotta give me at least 30 seconds. Honestly, what, did I do this yesterday for the first time? No. I will banish the... Alright, Keith, so 4th quarter 2020. Arnold G, you're a hyper-minded person, it's probably not a compatible... It's gonna drive you insane watching my videos then. That's all I can say. Alright. What we do need to do is actually fix up that row of discretes down the bottom there, because otherwise I'm going to put the chip down, and we do have it's already bad enough that I put the trace down there for that one ball pad. We'll put the chip down, then we've got to mess around with those little discretes, and we're probably going to bump the chip, and yeah, it's just going to be all bad news everywhere. Well, maybe you can consider my videos to be training for calming the hypermind. It's a bit like when I watch Gordon Ramsay to make me handle conflict a little better. And I'm not actually joking. Or I should say, I'm actually not joking. I'm wondering if there was a part there. Kind of feels like there might have been. I think I might just wipe this area. I have a feeling that nothing good's going to come of any of that. Yeah, I know. The parts aren't actually coming off until I bring them back up. Ayushman Sharma, hello. Yeah, it's a good thing we cleaned that up. I mean, look how bad those pads are. That's the sort of thing where you can fix it up today and then in 2 weeks' time it's going to be faulty again. So I wouldn't say, no, I don't mean conflict resolution, I mean just conflict in the sense of, there's that tension, there's going to be the arguing, there's going to be people shamed, all that sort of stuff. I find that very difficult to watch and handle in the real world. So by watching Gordon Ramsay with his nightmare kitchens, I can, it helps me become a little more accustomed to it. Because clearly I can't run from every time that someone's getting upset in a room. I can't run out of that room. Okay, there was probably a part there, so that's going to be a problem. Because we've got a veer. And, okay, hopefully that veer is rotted all the way through. I mean, that's a bad thing. Hopefully we can pick that up somewhere close by. Yeah, because that's going to be bad news otherwise. Now, I don't know why I'm like that when it comes to that sort of thing, because, particularly that it's on TV. It's not happening right now. It's in the past. It's being edited. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. But it really does, squirm in my seat when I'm watching that stuff. Assuming it's real life stuff as opposed to, you know, fictional type scenarios. Well, when I say TV, I'm talking about the device. We have a very nice 55-inch LG TV that I need to fix up. But we don't actually have free-to-air or anything, we just do all streaming on it. Come on, I'm not some hillbilly sitting in his chair waiting for free-to-air channels to come up. Does it make me feel cornered? No, I wouldn't say cornered, not at all. More just icky. It's hard to describe. It's more of an uncomfortable feeling than a cornered feeling. I feel like I can always just escape it if I want. And for business situations, I consider that behavior actually a bit of a, as in my behavior, that I consider it a little bit of a weakness, because it means that I can then be coerced indirectly into situations I don't want to actually participate in, or I'll give in too easy on what I should otherwise fight for, things like that. So really, it's a case of simply going, yeah, it's a case of going, well, I'm not too good in this particular area in life, so I'm going to try and improve myself. That's really what it comes down to. Then you're perhaps not that old. Well, Solder, I'm pretty old-ish compared to you newbies. But I'm not lagging behind, if that's what you mean. Okay, we've got another veer, but that one there looks like it was just a test pad, so we can ignore that. Although I do worry if it's going through internal layers, that could be a problem. Like if it branches off to a separate layer on the way through. Whatever this was really did a damn good job of butchering everything. Yeah, I definitely don't watch regular TV. Alright. So we can get rid of this copy of Flexboard View. Get back to our original. And we want to look for that. What was it? Is this here? Okay, so... Alright, so those two are connected. Let's bring up the 4 view. Hey, any 555. Okay, so that pad there that's missing is connected to this pad. That's great. That's a good start. But the fact that it's got a veer there means that chances are it's not going through the board off to wherever it's got to go anywhere else on here. So we need to still connect from up here to wherever it's going to go. And let's see, it goes to a ball under there. Fantastic. Horrible. We do have up here, that's a bit of a nasty route to take, but it's not the worst. And we do have over here. So we could connect these up and then just sort of do a lazy swing around to here, or we can try and snake up here. See how I feel about it. But at least we know that we can actually get access to it. What model iMac is behind me? Is there one behind me? This one here, yeah, that's a 2013 21.5 inch iMac. I think it's got the i5. I can't remember what CPU it's got in it, but I find it's a really handy machine to have around. Alright, so we need to basically go from here. Oh boy. So from there and get up to there. That's the point we want. And it looks like, I think that dives down. Yeah, it does. It dives in. I don't know if it shows up on camera there, but out of this pad, it then just stops here. It's a short trace and a stop. Kind of like when you go off a cliff, you know. A short drop and a stop. Or a long drop and a stop, rather. Anyway, so it dives down into the inner layers and then reappears over here. Where is it? Up here. So we're just going to simply take it from there up to there. So we'll be able to do that. There won't be a big problem. Hey, Prussian, Shakara, India. India? That's obviously, is that different from India, or is that actually a legit place? I'm not trying to be insulting or anything. Okay, now I've got to go through and we've got to replace these 4 parts, 5 parts, 6 parts. Crikey. Chances are they're going to be like pretty much every other 3215, but okay, so this one here is 100K. What size are these? 201s. Great, I got all 402 trash. 201s, caps. I think I'll put my resistors in the cap box. That way it confuses any of would-be thieves coming into my workshop. Alright, so it is India. Okay, well, that's good to know. Whereabouts in India are you? New Delhi or... let's see, cap. Maybe try the 402 resistor box. So we were on 100K, got 10K, 201, 100K, 201s. Nice to have nice fresh parts for these sort of things. Why don't you test for continuity first on that VIA? Well, I can't actually at the moment because of the fact... Oh, I see what you're saying. See whether it already does route across there. Okay. I see your point. I guess what I'm thinking is that it'd be very unusual for them to route the board in such a way that they would have 2 VIAs there. But hey, you know, you could be right. So we're there and... get continuity, beeper. And unfortunately it's open circuit. Whereas if we compare to say up here, actually be interesting to see if it makes it to the ball. Not that I'm going to put it on the ball, but let's see, 1, 2, it's that ball there. Yep, that's good. And yeah, it's dead. So I'm definitely going to have to run it up there. From Sangli, 400 kilometers away from Bombay. Okay, well I know where Bombay is. There are a lot of people in Sangli. We have a lot of Indian people here, although not as many as in South Africa. I routinely get Indian takeaway here too. Though these days, in the old days, Vindaloo wasn't a problem, but these days I have to keep it passive and stick with tandoori. My body cannot handle Vindaloo anymore. Or anything hot. When we were in South Africa, we used to go down to Durban and we'd get this stuff called bunny. We'd call it bunny chow. You just don't get that anywhere else. I suppose that's the thing, yeah. Wherever you go in the world, you sort of find a food that you really like, and chances are you're not going to find it anywhere else. Do you like curry? I do, yes. I like curry. I like a lot of different foods. I think that's what I really miss about South Africa. Is that it was genuinely a melting pot for culinary culture. And when I got back to Australia, everything just tasted bland. And it's kind of funny because I lived up in the Highveld, and of course, as you go up in altitude, your sense of taste and smell tends to reduce. So the fact that I went from a relatively low, well, slightly lower sense of taste and smell area down to sea level in Australia where everything should be at its best, and I still found the food very bland here. Alright, so we've got one part, we've got to hurry up, we're running out of time here. A little bit too much flaring going on here. In Puerto Rico, they make an empanada from fish called chapanaka cowfish. Oh, right, also known as cowfish. Interesting. Let's see, the second resistor is a 1 mega ohm. Alright, really going to the extremes there. One very weak pull-up. Not sure I do have 1 meg in 201. So I may have to do a board search for that one. And then add it to my resistors to purchase list. Ooh, I got a 1 meg. Oh yay, 1 meg 201. Nice. Very last item on the bottom. What Indian food do you like? Yeah, pretty much all the sort of classic accepted Western and taste type things. I really love curry chicken samosas. Or samosas in general. Otherwise, can't beat a samosa, particularly for lunch. I'll have them cold as well. Everybody loves naan bread, of course. I'll be honest and say I've pretty much forgotten most of the names of the things I did love. I mean, it was 20 years ago, so you'll have to forgive me. Okay, third resistor is, oh, another 1 mega. Rossman video helped you detect a battery problem. So was the battery at fault, or was it something like U7000 ISL not handling the battery properly? Or was it SMC issues not talking to the battery? Got the angle slightly wrong here and I'm burning my fingers. Fourth item is a capacitor C3105, 1 microfarad 63201. If I had a donor board for this particular thing, it'd be easy for me to just take the parts and migrate them across, but I don't. 1 microfarad, 10 volt, we can use that. People are going, but it's not 6.3, and so that's okay. It is genuinely okay. Yeah, we use the 1 microfarad, 10 volt, they'll be fine. We'll just add a bit of Jason Vilmuth style fluxing there. I'm disappointed he doesn't visit this stream much anymore. I'll have to message him later and complain about his lack of dedication to my videos. C3115 is another 1 microfarad. Like I said the other night, Jason definitely wants to do more videos, but yeah, he's got a very busy queue. I've seen his intake queue shelves and things, and it's just packed, absolutely packed. And he loves working on iPhone 10 series, yeah, the whole sandwich board type stuff. When everyone else was uncertain about handling it, he just dived in and really got used to it and loves it. He prefers it over the normal boards, funnily enough. Melt your mongrel. There we go. Yeah, Travis, exactly. He is. He's just so busy. I like him to visit occasionally, just simply to, remind him that there are people out here that are waiting on his next video, whatever he may produce. He's a little bit of a mad hatter. Oh, okay, this is weird. But is it true? I swear we took this part away. Okay, this here is the part that has the missing pad. This is the missing pad. And it's saying it's a no stuff, which is fun. It still doesn't... I still would have to... Pretty sure, will I have to? Yeah, I'd still have to actually run that trace, that jumper wire. But I can't remember whether this is genuinely a no stuff or not. There was so much corrosion there, I'll have to go back. Normally I would trust the schematics, but too many times I've found that it's not the case. Alright, well, we'll look at the next one, and that's a 2K2. 2K2. Did I... 3K3 was the previous one we were running around with. Let's see if I've got a 2K2. I don't have another board, Arnold, that's the problem. If I had another board, I wouldn't even be doing it this way. I'd just be transferring parts across. Blindly transferring them, there'd be no problem. $220K. 2K4. Damn it. So close. 2K2. 01005. That's way too small. It'll just disappear. It wouldn't even reach the pads. In this case, we're going to have to search for another one. That's not a problem. Yeah, 1814. I should really actually update the job sheet. 217. Crikey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. That's not good for me. Why didn't my wife tell me that I was up this late? 820-0-1814. She's not doing her job. No, it hasn't been worked on by anybody at this point, other than me. Search, find a part. 2.2K. Pretty much the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised the 165 has one, yep. Ooh, but it's a no stuff, but that's okay, we've got one right next to it. 2021. Okay, you're just on the other side of the all-sys power grid generator. Where the no stuff. So yeah, that's you right there. Complete with hairs. Yucky. Very yucky. I do periodically put my donor boards through the ultrasonic cleaning because I genuinely don't like this. Mark Bianco, oh, back again. Had to go for time for a beer and hot wings. I'll enjoy that. You're welcome. Thank you very much for everything. And thank you for dropping in, saying hello. Hopefully it won't be too long before I see you again. Just simply because, yeah, it's good to have you around. Engineering scale models, good luck with that. The Hakko tweezers on a FM203 is probably the cheapest option, and that's not that cheap either. No part to be seen in that missing pad spot. Check back from the beginning of the stream. Okay, Jimbo, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It's easier for other people to do it for me. And yeah, it's great. Okay. We'll put the trace wire in after we've put our CD3215 down. Not too much flux. Once the damn things swim away. Engineering, it's hard to say. It really comes down to personal preference, unfortunately. Some people find great value in them. Some people find that it really didn't end up being worth the expense. Can I ask, like, what's compelling you to get them? Are you finding it just difficult to handle 0603 or that sort of size? Because initially we often think, well, that's going to solve everything for me, but then a lot of people are finding that it's not the case. And I just realised now that I'm in... Sorry folks, there we go. I haven't soldered it down yet. "40-minute mark, area looks junkified." Yeah, okay, thanks. Well, at least that's good to know. Also, engineering, have you tried just using something like the FX951 with micro pencil or just even a JSO2 type tip? Sorry, I just got to focus a little bit here because these chips can be a real mongrel and do that. Okay, if I'm lucky, it's come back. Hey, Fidafana from Kenya. How are you? A little north of where I ever managed to get myself. I only got up to Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Namibia. Didn't quite make it up to Kenya. I was never sure which one people preferred. Damn it. The problem here is those balls are so small I can't get a view underneath it. So I can't see whether I jumped a row or not. Damn. Just got a bit of a view there. Seems to be okay. Right, we've got to run that trace now. Almost forgot about that. Got a little bit too excited about having gotten this little blighter down. So what we'll do is we can either run from the base that resistor, or we can just sort of tack onto this bit of exposed trace here. I think I might start on the trace, come around that resistor, and then go up to the... I'm trying to decide whether I'll use my lens wire or whether I'll use the normal 10... I'll probably use the normal stuff. The enamel's a little tougher on this one, which typically means I have to solder it off first. Whereas with the lens wire I can usually solder it in situ. So hey, what is it? Jup it up. The Netherlands. Cool. Okay, probably not the best tip to be doing this on. So engineering, this is a micro pencil, and you have no trouble handling. 0603 is almost too big for this stuff, for this tip. I mean, it isn't, but it can sometimes feel that way. But for 04, 02, certainly 01, it's a good tip. Now naturally, of course, the board orientation is completely wrong for me to do this. If there's no component over that veer, it shouldn't matter if it has a first link. Not sure what you mean by that, sorry. Nah. Well, this is the bit that I find more difficult, perhaps, than I should, and that is... come on. Let's try to get a bit more room on the board, the bench here. Trying to decide how I'm going to route this best. By the way, any motorsport fans going to be watching the Bathurst 1000 tomorrow? See off the GM Holden team finally. Bunch of whiners. Now the trick here for me is to break the insulation, the enamel on that wire, without also damaging the resistor that it's sitting in front of. So I might cheat a little bit and scratch it back with the knife, and that should help it take the solder a little quicker. Can be a little tricky to tell because copper and the enamel are not too dissimilar in colour. Watch Dave Jones give the course a once-over. You mean... Wait, what? You're obviously not talking about Bathurst race course, are you? Is that motorbikes? No, it's supercars, V8s. Personally, I had an interest in it all when we had things like the Godzilla and the Cosworths, things like that, Sierra. But when they decided, they got all upset and everybody was beating the pants off the V8s. And they said, that's it, we're only going to have live axle V8s in this competition now. Then I pretty much lost interest in it because it was no longer a touring car competition. It was just a 2-horse competition. And yeah, that's not a problem. I don't mind single standard, standardized car racing or motorbike racing for that matter. But when they get all upset because everybody was beating the pants off them and changed everything, then it's kind of like, boo, bunch of losers. Oh, he took his electric car around the course. Oh wow, that's awesome. I was watching a video, I think it was today, and a guy had modified someone's Tesla Model 3 to go around the Nürburgring, or whatever it is, the ring. And it was pretty comical seeing all of these sports cars getting thrashed by this modified Model 3. It wasn't a significant modification, it was still roadworthy and all that sort of stuff. But it is pretty amusing to see it happening. I mean, yeah, I know all the arguments. It's like, well, they can only do a couple of laps where they've got to recharge, all that sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, fine, that's, legit points. But it's still amusing as hell to see it happen. Hey Greg, how's it going? Transaxles for the supercars are made, designed by a company here in Ballarat. That's the only downside, I guess, with the closure of things like Holden and whatnot is, there's a lot of businesses that are going to now miss out on work. Hopefully they found something else, maybe with the military contracts. But I really wish it was. I mean, it is becoming now more of an open competition. But I do miss the Godzillas. And remember the Jaguars and the Volvos, the Volvo station wagons? I mean, that was pretty awesome. Seeing a blimmin' family wagon from Volvo beating the pants off so many people. I think it was the 850s, Luke. I think. It would have been like the 90s. Alright, well I guess we'll... might touch up those, see how they react. And with my motorbike watching, it pretty much ended when Mick Doohan finished up his career. I mean, I did watch a bit of Moto. I don't mind Moto 3. Casey Stoner was, of course, always awesome to watch too. I'm not a fan of Valentino Rossi. I know a lot of people love him and have his children if they could, but I mean, I didn't greatly care either way. But then when he ran Marquez off the road, and I'm not a fan of Marquez per se anyway, but that whole going wide in the corner thing to push Marquez off, I thought, come on, you're better than that. And from there, I pretty much had a bad taste in my mouth about Valentino. Excuse me. Alright, I think we're ready to test now. Get an idea at least if we're having any sort of progress. Yeah, it's moments like that in sport that can completely ruin your career. Kind of like when, what was it, Ian Chappell did the underarm ball at the test. It's like, at the time, they must have been thinking, oh yeah, we'll get away with this, but then it turns into basically a career-destroying move. Was it Ian or was it Greg Chappell? It was certainly the Chappell brothers. Hey Dario. Welcome. I gotta say, I do miss having my BMW. I'll be very glad when I can get my BMW back again. Or when I can buy another one. I don't want anything fancy, you know, just a nice... Oh, I'd take a 320 if I had to. 330 would be nice. But, beggars can't be choosers. It was Trevor Chappell, was it? Okay. Well, that explains everything, because I didn't realise I was a third brother. There you go. That's how much it destroys your career, doing those sort of... car. Yeah. For motorbikes, I don't really have a strong brand affiliation. I mean, I've ridden a fair number of Suzukis. Anyway, let's first see how this goes. Come on, 20 volts. Nah, we've still got some other issues going on. Still 50 milliamp. Still sensitive too. Not sure what the deal is, unless it's that button I'm pressing. Let's check on this. We don't yet have a win. So we're missing something just slightly. I quite like the BMW K100 or K75 series of motorbikes. They were nice. I wasn't overly, particularly in my youth, I wasn't overly a fan of the R series. Always thought they were a bit of an old man's bike, and I mean they are, kind of. But yeah, I can appreciate the modern take on the R series. But I gotta say, I am impressed with what they did do with the their BMW Supersport bikes now. I mean, crikey, watching them go around on the TT, it's terrifying how fast those things are, beating the pants off everybody. I'm kind of wondering if there's junk under that one. Let's see. It's pretty bad still over here. Disinclined to hit it with ultrasonic yet. Let's see if we've got a short there maybe. I doubt it, but we'll give it a beat test. The Boxer. I mean, the nice thing about the Boxer, of course, is that you basically can't destroy those things, as you know. Okay, that seems fine. Ah, this tip's covered with trash. It's possible there's junk under this one. Hopefully I don't have to change all of them. It's going to be a real major problem. Because like I said, the last character on these is Z, whereas the ones I have are not Z, they're something else. What are the ones I got? Yeah, they're just COO. So I don't know whether the Z's imparting a problem here. Yeah, we do have a bit of a bad looking cap there. And some corrosion. Not sure what that is. Q3501. What is your role in all this? You do control stuff. U3500. Say a Thunderbolt 5-volt regulator. Okay. Tom, if you've never seen Isle of Man TT, although I'm guessing you have because I don't recall saying Isle of Man, but you did, so I'm guessing you know about Isle of Man TT. Hey, that's just a floater. It's a terrifying race, but it's a gloriously terrifying race. I gotta admit, I find it very difficult to watch if there is, if there is an accident. Certainly it happens far too many times. But I also, at the same time, support the right to have that race. If people want to engage in that, then I feel they should be allowed to. It's not like they're going in it blind. They know very well what they're getting into. I'm a little worried that we could have a problem with this chip here, because remember it does have the hole on the underside of it, that little pinhole. So I'm worried if that's faulty, maybe it could be preventing proper communications and moving up to the 20 volt requirement. I'll see if I've got a spare of that anywhere. I do have a couple of other boards, but I don't think I've got any chicken arm boards. I mean, yeah, a lot of them have done. It's usually about one a year on average, I think it is. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay that, but people die in so many other ways at times that I think if they get rid of that, then it kind of like, I don't know. Like I said, they go in knowing full well what they're getting into, so I think we should still be allowed to make that choice as humans. And if we don't do it at, say, like the TT, the people are just going to find somewhere else to do it. Probably at the TT. Let's see, I've got to search for that part. Oh, 840's got it. Ooh, but the trouble is, I have a feeling that the data contained in that chip, say on the 840, is not going to be right for the 1814. So I don't know. Give me your view. Do you think that this firmware chip, like I said, it's for USB 3 firmware or something like that, do you think that I can take that from another board that has that chip and get away with it, assuming it is also for the same purpose, the USB-C. So as we can see, quite a lot of them do have it. In fact, most of them all seem to have it. But will it work? And also, is it actually the cause of the problem that we're seeing? Take it off, try to read it out. I don't know if I don't think I'll have something that can actually read that. I don't think I've got a suitable reader board, daughter board for it. But you make a good point, yeah. And if I did do that, I'll probably save it to tomorrow because it is 1:30 in the morning now. Maybe what I should focus on just for the short term is see if we can. We've got some bad caps. What am I going to do? Like this here is a bit of a bad cap. And I don't know if that truly did go down properly or not. Although I imagine if it was one set of balls off, it wouldn't even give me 5 volts. I'm guessing it would just simply stop dead. I should check for this to make sure it's not shorted. $266. Hey, Panoff. How many years has it been running now? I think that's an important figure to also factor in. I mean, obviously it's been running for 100 years, and that's actually still a fairly large number, really. But again, like I said, I think there should be at least one event in this world where you can do that. And the same thing actually does tend to happen with the Paris Dakar Rally. No one seems to bring that up very often. And I'm fairly sure the death rate at the Paris Dakar Rally is at least 1 or 2 a year. It's all TT. Okay, so that includes the actual seasonal type racing as well that they have, as opposed to the Isle of Man main one in June or May. What is it, May or June? I can't remember. Okay, this is being cavitated under there, so we're going to lift that up. Yep, every time I switch the filter on, it causes the HDMI capture or the camera to glitch. Maybe that is why I've been having problems, where everything seems to be fine and then all of a sudden my camera goes offline. I'm starting to wonder whether that was actually the primary reason, as opposed to bad connections. Okay, well it wasn't the gate pin, so it really actually shouldn't have mattered too much. Yeah, rallying has the death. It might be EMF, but I have a feeling it's probably just temporary. It could be the power pack that's supplying the camera isn't up to spec, although it should be a good pack that I'm using on that. I'm pretty sure it's a proper like 3 amp, 12 volt brand name pack, not some Zhangwang Ting pack. I'm being a bit foolish here, trying to use a micro pencil on a MOSFET set of pads. It's a little bit silly. No, the camera isn't well, I mean, yeah, obviously it's power brick is, but overall it's still through like I said, it's through a decent switch mode power supply. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring out the proper soldering tip for that one. As far as I know, it's a wide range spec power brick. It's not the one that came with the camera. I threw that thing straight in the bin straight away. That was the one that came with the camera was your typical assumption power brick, where the only reason why they work is because they assume far too many things, and it's just by the pure grace of luck that it stays within parameters. Ground loop, maybe. Just need to get another one of these MOSFETs that I pulled off. Right, this one. 3501. Get that part name, search, find a part. Search. Oh, cool. 49, 24, 34, 37. Oh, lovely. Always nice when these parts appear everywhere. Stop. Search. 165. Right. By the CPU. Oh, okay. I know you. Hello, friend. Where you going? Switch over to microscope where everyone loses their mind. Not enough tinfoil around the camera. Or my head, I guess. I bet you I'll be able to steal that cap too. Goodbye, solder. Yeah, I know it looks pretty shocking down there, but it's not too bad really. Probably could have done with a little more flux, to be honest. Ain't nobody got time for flux. Let's see, that cap that I'm eyeing off. What are you? You're 1 microfarad, 25 volt. And oh, I was wrong. It's 2.2 microfarad I need. Hey, Stuart Menzies. Alright, so I've got to find another search, find a part. This isn't super critical, but I prefer to get it right. 2.2 microfarad, 25 volt, 402. Let's hope 165 has it. 163 has it. It's a completely different board. Yay, 165's got it. Or has it? Nope, it hasn't. Okay, see, let's expand this out. This is the downside of sometimes searching. And this is why sometimes you have to narrow down your radius. Because we thought it had found a 2.2, but it's found the 2.2, it's found the 402, and then it found the 25 volts here, which is obviously not correct. You can't really... 2.2... yeah, you can't really sort of win. Actually, to be fair though, the radius thing there is not quite right. because it looks like it's ignoring the radius. Oh well, it's a bug. Yeah. It's okay. So what else have we got? $244. iPhone 5 has one? Actually, I might see if another iPhone's got one. Yeah, Tom, I need my beauty sleep too. Unfortunately, I'm not getting it, am I? Looks like the iPhones have got a... I kind of find that unlikely, but we'll have a look. So, let's see... iPhone 6... Well, blow me down, they actually do. It's for the backlight driver. Okay. iPhone 6 1531. C1531. Yeah. Okay, well, I've got plenty of iPhone 6s, that's for sure. Just trying to find a board that is already well and truly butchered. Yep, okay, I know this. I've got a board here and I know it's iCloud locked, so no drama if I steal the backlight driver out of it. So it'll be one of these caps here. Which one is it? Fourth one down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's this one here. Ah, you can't see. I really need to find a way of resolving that problem. We'll just have to put it in a holder. Otherwise they do have a tendency to skip around on the workbench because they are so lightweight. So I haven't really done many phone repairs lately on live stream. Most of the time the problem is that people really, at least up here, aren't spending the money to get them repaired, especially this sort of type. And the other thing is, a lot of the time it's data recovery, and I don't generally like to do iPhone data recoveries on live streams because I like to keep my focus on the task. And yeah, because it's typically a one chance thing, I'd rather not blow it just trying to get a few YouTube views. Wouldn't hurt to put a bit of flux down. Also wouldn't hurt to change back to MacBook temperatures. Obviously if the iPhones are run at a much lower temperature and air compared to a Mac. There we go. I may end up finding that this being a COO and not a COOZ could be the fault at hand, or yeah, it could be this chip here. But this is obviously going to take a little bit of a fiddling around, seeing what we can find. But like I said, I'm a little concerned about that punch-through hole on there. That really is not something that you should see. Oh, the cracking coils on the iPhone 6s, yeah. Yeah. You try to transplant them from another iPhone and nope. I might try another connector as well, rather than using the one that has been near the liquid damage. Yep, test time. And if this doesn't work, then I really need to go to sleep. The current is... yes, we've got 20 volts. We've got to win. We're booting. That's great. Yeah, 1.3 amps. We're booting. So that's it. We fixed it. It might have been that MOSFET and the cap. Oh, hallelujah for that. I'm so tired that I'm not even going to bother packing this away. I'm just going to leave it here tonight. It's a little different if you have a failure and you leave your failure on the workbench at night and come back to it in the morning. That's a bit depressing. But when you got to win, you can get away with being a bit lazy. So yeah, now I can go to sleep. So thank you very much everybody for watching. I always appreciate it. Thank you for all those who contributed as well. I always appreciate that. Yeah, I'm always not sure what to say about the contributions other than the fact that I definitely do appreciate it. Goes towards the house, the kitty cats. You know, we do rescue a lot of cats here. We foster a lot. So we've got the half dozen kittens, and we'll probably have another half dozen in about 4 weeks time, maybe 6. And I have to build out new rooms and enclosures to be able to properly house them. And I am building a post-op room as well. So yeah, it all goes towards improving the life of everybody around. So thank you very much, and you all take care, and I maybe see you tomorrow. Who knows? Until then, I'll catch you later.